There are graves in Greece that should not exist, graves where the dead were chained, nailed, and crushed under stones, not out of cruelty, but out of terror, terror that they would return. History tells us that vampires are the creatures of dark folklore, lurking in the night, feeding on the living. But what if the legends were not just stories? What if ancient Greece, the cradle of philosophy, democracy, and reason, held within its soil secrets far darker than the myths we know, secrets of the restless dead, and the desperate measures taken to keep them buried? These were not ordinary graves. These were prison cells, built not for the living, but for the dead. And even now, the question lingers, who were these people? Were they criminals, outcasts, or something much worse? And most chilling of all, why did their executioners fear them so much that even in death, they were not free? Tonight, we unearth the truth, the forgotten rites, the ancient horrors, and the chilling possibility that the Greeks knew something we have long since forgotten, something that still lingers beneath the earth, waiting. Not all the dead stay buried. We often picture ancient Greece as a land of enlightenment, a cradle of reason, where scholars like Plato and Aristotle shaped the foundation of Western thought. But there was another Greece, a Greece that whispered of curses, restless spirits, and the horrors that could not be named. To the Greeks, death was not an end, but a transition, the soul journeyed to the underworld, guided by Hermes and ferried across the river Styx by Charon. But what if something went wrong? What if the dead could not cross over? Or worse, what if they returned? The ancients had a name for them, tympaniaios, the bloated ones, the restless corpses. These were not mere ghosts, but something far worse. Bodies that refused to decay, that moved unnaturally in their graves. To the living, they were an omen of doom, a warning that death did not always bring peace. And so, drastic measures were taken. In the Greek city of Mytilene, archaeologists uncovered bodies pinned to the earth with iron nails. Cruel, deliberate, a clear sign that these people were feared in death. In other regions, massive stones were placed over corpses, a desperate attempt to keep them buried forever. But why? What had they done in life to deserve such treatment? Or was it something they did after death? And so, drastic measures were taken. In the Greek city of Mytilene, archaeologists uncovered bodies pinned to the earth with iron nails. Cruel, deliberate, a clear sign that these people were feared in death. In other regions, massive stones were placed over corpses, a desperate attempt to keep them buried forever. But why? What had they done in life to deserve such treatment? Or was it something they did after death? The Greeks were not alone in this fear. Their neighbors, the Thracians, the Romans, even the Egyptians, all had stories of the undead, of beings who rose from their graves with unnatural hunger. And they all had their own ways of keeping them from returning. The question is not whether the Greeks believed in the undead. The question is, did they have a reason to? What would drive an entire civilization to fear the return of the dead? Why did the ancient Greeks go to such extreme lengths to keep certain corpses from rising? The answer lies not only in their myths, but in the very nature of death itself. To the Greeks, not all deaths were equal. Those who died suddenly, violently, without proper rites, were cursed to linger between worlds. These were the etavoi, the untimely dead. Murder victims, unburied warriors, those lost at sea. But there was one type feared above all others, the archaeoi, souls denied their final journey to the underworld. The archaeoi were doomed to roam, neither here nor beyond. And when the body did not decay, when it remained eerily preserved, bloated and stiff, as if still holding breath, it was believed the soul had refused to leave. These were the ones who returned. In graveyards across Greece, we find chilling evidence of these fears. Some bodies were pinned with nails, others buried face down, bound in their own garments. The most disturbing cases had their mouths filled with stones or bricks, a desperate act to prevent them from calling out from the grave. These were not mere superstitions. The Greeks believed that the dead could consume the life force of the living, not by drinking blood, but by stealing breath, by drawing energy from those they visited in the night. They called them revenants, beings neither alive nor truly dead. But the question remains, did these entities exist only in the fearful minds of the ancients, or were they trying to warn us of something we have long forgotten? What if the Greeks were right? What if the revenants were not just the stuff of myth, but something more, something real, something lurking just beneath the veil of our understanding? Even into modern times, stories of the Vrykolikas, the Greek revenants, persisted. Unlike the fanged creatures of later European folklore, the Vrykolikas did not need to drink blood. They fed on energy, on life itself. The Greeks believed these entities could drain the will, the very essence of those they visited, leaving only sickness and despair in their wake. The rituals to stop them were extreme, yet methodical: exhumation, destruction of the body, even burning of the heart. But there was one rule above all: never, under any circumstance, let a revenant remain unburied in hallowed ground. And then we come to the most unsettling part of all. In recent years, archaeologists have unearthed burial sites across Greece that confirm the old legends. Graves containing bodies pinned to the earth, weighted with heavy stones, mouths stuffed with objects to prevent speech. Evidence of rituals that, until now, were thought to be mere folklore. Did the ancients possess knowledge we have dismissed as mere superstition? Did they understand something about death and what may lie beyond that we have forgotten? Or worse, have we chosen to forget? What if the stories were never meant to be dismissed? What if they were warnings, whispers from our ancestors, urging us to remember what we were never supposed to forget? The vampire legends of Greece differ from those of Eastern Europe, yet they share a chilling core truth: the belief that death is not always the end, that something lingers, that some do not rest, no matter how deep we bury them. We tell ourselves these were merely the fears of primitive minds. That today, with all our science, all our knowledge, we have no need for iron spikes or weighted stones. And yet, what if they were right? What if, despite everything, we are still walking in the shadows of something older than we dare to comprehend? Perhaps the greatest mistake of modern man is not that we stopped believing in monsters, but that we stopped preparing for them.